Once a child came to visit his grandfather during summer vacation. He used to spend his time playing with his grandfather all day. On one of those days, he shared a wish with his grandfather. "When I grow up, I want to become a successful man. Could you tell me some ways to be successful?" The grandfather nodded with a smile and led the boy to a nearby nursery. In the nursery, the grandfather bought 2 small plants and returned home with his grandson. He then planted one of the plants in a pot inside the house, while the other was carefully planted outside. The grandfather teased the boy with a question. "What do you think will happen to these 2 plants in the future?" After a moment of reflection, the boy replied that the plant inside the house would grow better, protected from all dangers, while the plant outside would be exposed to risks like intense sunlight, storms, and threats from animals. The grandfather smiled and said, "Let's see what will happen in the future." After that visit, the boy returned to his parents' house. 4 years later, he came back to visit his grandfather, eager to learn the lessons of success. Upon finding his grandfather, he asked, "Grandpa, last time I asked about ways to be successful, but I didn't get an answer. This time, you have to tell me." The grandfather agreed, but with one condition. "Before sharing my lessons, let's take a look at the plants we bought a few years ago." So, the grandfather led the boy to the place where he had planted the small plant in a pot. They were surprised to see that the plant had turned into a majestic tree. Then they went to the plant planted outside the house, where they saw a huge tree standing with branches extending far and providing a beautiful shade. The grandfather asked the boy, "Now tell me, which plant grew more? Which one is more successful?" The boy promptly replied that the plant planted outside grew more. The grandfather explained, "Yes, the plant outside faced many challenges, but facing problems also brings benefits. It had the freedom to extend its roots as much as it wanted, and adversities like storms made its roots stronger. Today, it is so resilient that a small storm cannot harm it. Son, remember this. If you always choose the most comfortable path, you won't have room to grow as much as if you are willing to face the world despite the dangers." In this context, I recall the words of Jesus recorded in Matthew 7:24-25. "Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock." And also, as in Jeremiah 17:7-8, "Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. He will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit." Just like the grandfather's plants, which faced challenges but thrived, we too can find strength in adversity, trusting in words and teachings that anchor us as solid foundations. Life full of twists and turns can be a journey of continuous growth. May we, in overcoming challenges, become more resilient and build our lives on the rock of faith and trust. May this story and these biblical passages bring you value, inspiration, and constant growth. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content.